Hey, Chris Liepe here. I've been using something behind the scenes on this channel to make the performed vocals that you hear sound extra awesome. It's something that I've been working on and developing for quite some time now, and I'm finally ready to give you. Yes, give you. 'Cause when I'm alone, I'm lost in these memories. One thing for you to keep in mind, you know you don't feel a I wanted to create a simple tool that I would use for vocalists everywhere as a way to help them practice and record and get way better sound out of their voice. We hear all these highly produced vocalists from amazing artists, and we hear ourselves in the car, practicing in our bedroom or bathroom. Or worse yet, we try singing into a mic and recording ourselves, and things are either too quiet or they're clipping, and it gets so frustrating. You can use this new tool to make your vocals sound instantly awesome in lots of different ways. Let me show it to you. I call it Vocal Menace, and it's got a whole lot of ways to bring out the best qualities in your voice, whether you're practicing and recording, so that what you hear in your head is more of a reality. It's an audio plugin that works inside any DAW on Mac or PC. So far, you've been listening to my voice with just the mic, no effects on it whatsoever. I'm simply going to turn Vocal Menace on inside Logic. Hey! And you'll notice my voice instantly becomes more present. There's a bit of heat, a bit of drive to it. Subtle reverb, subtle delay that is synced to the tempo inside your DAW automatically. There's all sorts of ways you can add interests and modify the way your voice interacts with this plugin without having to know about recording. I'm going to turn down the heat, turn up the heat. I'm going to add drive as I scream. I'm going to turn up the sheen. Oh, hey. I'm going to add girth, warmth, but not muddiness. Oh, yeah. And then I could even have this wonderful, healthy way of making my voice sound kind of lo-fi. Lo-fi, yeah! Now listen to what happens. Again, this is tempo synced. When I turn up the delay or the call. Yeah! Yeah! Did you hear how it widened, got longer, more driven, and more present? All with the turn of one knob. This is all over this plugin. It's doing things that you would need many plugins and many levels of automation or custom settings. It's got all those things linked together in the most common ways that vocalists like you and I love to use them. So you don't have to spend tons of time searching for a bunch of different plugins or drawing automation lines or finding ways to manipulate certain parts of plugins. It's all here, and it's all here for you to experiment with and play with as you make sounds with your own voice. Let me show you the reverb. It's called Wash. 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 Add some call. Add some call. Add some pain. Add some pain. This plugin won't clip. The more you feed it, the cooler it sounds, and the more extreme it sounds. Hey! Whoa! I'm so cold. I'm so cold. I'm so hot. I'm so... This tool works with any piece of recording software on Mac or Windows, and a mobile version is coming very soon. This tool is free for everyone. Follow the links below in the pinned comment or the description and download your version. And please, in the comments, share with me how you're using it, how it's helping you, and share some samples of things you've used it on. Enjoy. Big things are happening, and even more big things are happening very soon. But before I tell you all about those, we have to rewind to 2020, late 2020, and I had just released a video on how to sing and scream like Periphery's Spencer Sotelo. A few weeks after I released that video, I got an Instagram message from Spencer. Before I knew it, we were making an in-depth course on singing, screaming, and vocal production in which Spencer was showing me how he did everything.
That was pretty nailed.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like a little bit more compression.
I really took more of the role as a student. Yeah, as a vocal coach, but as a student in that particular setting. It was an amazing experience. And after working with Spencer, something kind of unexpected, but really cool, happened in my head. I was feeling all sorts of new things happen with my voice, and I was super excited about it. I know how Spencer's showing me how he's doing these things. And I know what it feels like when I experiment with my own voice. But what's really going on? What's really going on here? I've even had cameras jammed down my throat. That was cool too.
Now that's really interesting.
But I began to get more and more curious as to how, on a broader scale, this harsh vocal thing works. How are people able to do this tour after tour, year after year, and get this kind of stamina and sound out of their voices? I can't do it yet. I'm learning, but yeah, I'm learning which sensations to lean into and all those things, but I want to know more. And then Elizabeth from The Charismatic Voice released that throat camera video with Will.
Okay, good. Go for it.
What is going on? It just blew my mind to hear what Will was doing and to see how physically unaffected he was after he was doing it. And yeah, I'd heard harsh vocals like that before, but it was something about the way the things were presented in that video that just, it threw me over the edge. So, my curiosity drove me to reach out to The Charismatic Voice. And one thing led to another, and before I knew it, we were doing a course with Will, Elizabeth, and myself, where Will was showing us what he was doing to get his sounds. I could have him in the room making the noises. I could be in the same room with him making noises. He could give me feedback on things. And it was a life-changing experience working on that project with them. Through that experience and lots of mindful practicing, I could feel amazing new things happening in my voice and in my creativity as a result. But I wasn't satisfied, and I'm still not satisfied. After diving in head first to the realms of harsh vocals, doing lots of vocal analysis videos on this channel where I'm continuing to learn from these vocalists that I'm pouring into, having other vocalists right here in the studio showing me other things, all been amazing learning experiences. But when Elizabeth and The Charismatic Voice announced their Kickstarter project, I knew I had to be involved. I wanted more answers. I wanted to continue to learn, to continue to build into my own voice. This is going to be an incredible opportunity. For one, my buddy Spencer is one of the vocalists they're studying. They're putting him through all the tests that Will got to go through. So having spent so much time with Spencer, hearing him sing, singing him sing, having me instruct him on how he gets his sounds, now I get to see with data and science how things are happening. That's going to be completely groundbreaking for me being able to do the things that he taught me how to do with my own voice. And I get to be involved too. I get to have the same tests that were done on Will, that will be done on Spencer, and these other artists. Elizabeth and I will undergo these same tests. I get my voice examined, analyzed. I get to have the camera put down my throat. I get to have the needles stuck in my throat. So I will have an even greater understanding of how my voice is working. Yeah, I feel how my voice is working. Yeah, I've studied my own voice and been intensely introspective, and that has allowed me to do some amazing things. And I've taught lots of people how to do the same. But my understanding of my own voice is about to get way deeper, which is going to help me teach even better. It's going to help me sing better as well. I cannot express how excited I am for this opportunity. My very first car was a 1984 Dodge Colt with a strange 8-speed manual transmission and no tachometer. I loved that car. It was a really fun car to drive. But because it had no tachometer, I was missing data on what I was actually doing to that engine. I would always shift. I had fun with it, but I would always shift a little bit more timidly because I was afraid of ruining something. Like, I don't know where red line is. I don't know if I'm red line. I just have to go completely off of feel. But I'm not really sure what's going on under the hood. And so I'm not that confident that I'm not going to do anything. Once I finally got a manual transmission car with a tachometer in it, I knew where redline was. I could square the sounds and the feel of the engine and the shifting with what I was seeing on the tachometer and know how hard I could push the car. I could safely drive that car in a more aggressive way. Seeing the data, knowing what's going on in the vocal tract with these sounds has the potential to make any practicing vocalist way more confident. There are several tiers that help you build confidence as you're learning something new. The first is when you see other people doing those things in a healthy and awesome way. That gives you confidence. That's inspirational. Next, when you take that inspiration and you feel a sense of victory when you're able to do even just a small fraction of what that other individual who inspires you is able to do with your own voice. And above that, it's when that person that you are actually studying is in the room with you saying, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, but try this. Lean into this and lean away from this. So they're directly coaching you in how to do something, and then you have victories through that. And then that guy or that girl that you've been watching gets examined, and you get to see more than they even know about how they're getting their sounds. Yes, the more we know about how these sounds are made, the more we can confidently study and explore our own voices. I am so excited for what I consider to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be involved in this type of project with the Charismatic Voice. You can be involved too. If you follow the link in the pinned comment or video description, you can contribute and be a part of this vocal research. There's also options for you to get your own scream analyzed. Yeah, you can record something, you can send that in, and you can get an analysis done of your scream with the help of the other data that we're collecting from the other vocalists. A huge learning opportunity for you. Thanks for listening to my story. If you'd like to hear more information about Elizabeth's journey, go to this video and be sure to stop by the Kickstarter page, again in the pinned comment or the video description of this video. We'll see you for more. If you're at all interested in practicing, performing, recording harsh vocals, you're about to have some amazing revelations. I present to you a portion of the main line performance from Will Ramos and Nick Nocturnal's Chelsea Grin cover of Recreant. Totally raw vocals, no effects. Listen carefully. I mean, brutal and awesome. His tone is amazing. Okay, but there's a couple things going on here that I want you to listen for. If you don't have headphones on, you probably should. So pause, grab your headphones, come back. Have you got them yet? Okay, now listen again. You do hear a little bit of room noise, and you hear a little bit of sparkle and presence, but not much. Now listen here. Look in this waveform, how much quieter after the attack his voice is right here. And if you know what to listen for, you can hear how much air Will is actually holding back after that initial attack, right? It's not just his mouth shape, although that's part of it, what's getting us less of a waveform. But you can hear him attack the sound and then pull it back, compress it. Will's compression vocally is absolutely amazing. Now listen to this part.
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
Listen specifically to "This is how you repay me, I was always by your side," that section.
I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
There's massive holding back of air, even as he's really being aggressive. This is one of the things that makes Will's vocals, it's what makes them so amazing and sort of paradoxical. You can be so aggressive and so restrained at the same time. Impeccable technique at the source, what he's doing with his supraglottic structures, compression, and then what he's doing to filter the sound with his mouth. But when we hear great harsh vocals, and when we are practicing harsh vocals, we need to consider the other side of things. One of them is what we're doing with our face, with our voice. The other is the production, what's being added to the sound to enhance what we already love about the vocals. Here's this word-heavy section again, raw.
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
And here is my new free vocal processing plugin. I have some settings that I've worked out for Will's voice. Listen again to this section. First, we're going to just add the heat.
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
It minimizes the room noise. It brings the vocal forward while burying some of those frequencies that we don't want. And I haven't EQ'd anything at all. Then we're going to bring out the warmth of his throat. Okay?
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you
Because there's percussive things going on in his throat that are lower in frequency, that are thicker, bringing out highs in this case isn't really going to do it. We want to bring out the percussive nature, which compression isn't even doing that. It's doing it a little bit. But a strategic low type of EQ, I call it girth, is doing that in ways that is right here with the compression. Now we're going to add a bit of sheen, sparkle. It's going to bring out the top end of his constriction.
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
And then we're going to capitalize on that sizzle that we just brought out with the sheen by bringing it, and we're going to soften it by bringing up some drive. And this is a multi-stage, multi-type drive knob. We're going to bring it up, and it's going to cycle from like a tape sort of sound to a tube sort of sound to something a little bit more brutal. And it's going to blend all of them together in a very tasty way that is perfect for harsh vocals. Listen to how it builds.
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
Here it softened the S's a little bit, got rid of some of the sibilants, but it also made it seem more present and wider. It softened it and made it more aggressive at the same time.
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
Now we're going to roll off just a little bit of the low and a little bit of the high, create this cupping effect.
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
Yes. And then we're going to add a little bit of reverb.
I fucking sick of all the no one tries to rain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
And we're going to add some delay or some call in.
I felt instinct of verbalizing no electric terrain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
Yeah. Now, this pain knob is ducking. It's creating articulation while the words are going and allowing the delay trail to come out afterward, which is why you hear it here so wonderfully.
By your side, this is how you repay me.
And then finally, let's listen to this intro scream and hear how it glues the dynamic differences together.
Instinct of verbalizing no electric terrain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
You don't hear that room sound so much anymore. Between adding natural wash and call, getting the distortion where it needs to be, and bringing out the right qualities of Will's throat with sheen, girth, and cup, we have brought out the aspects of his performance that are awesome, and we've minimized, drawn attention completely away from some of the things that aren't ideal about the raw recording.
Instinct of verbalizing no electric terrain. I was always by your side, this is how you repay me.
Now it's time for you to experiment. Follow the first link below in the pinned comment or video description to download this free plugin that I have created, as well as this snippet of Will's vocals. Drag those into your DAW, install the plugin, and mess with it for yourself, and see what kinds of things you can bring out in this already masterful performance. May this be inspiring to you. And then, if you want to learn how to do what Will does, you want to take your own vocals to another level, click the second link below and join Will's free harsh vocal warm-up course. So 2 links. Make sure you grab them both. We'll see you for more. I'm proud to introduce the Monster Menace Vocal Bundle. 5 plugins designed by vocalists, for vocalists, that put simplicity at the forefront while still allowing you to completely nerd out in all sorts of surgical yet musical ways. Menace Drive. Hear the multiple flavors of distortion that came in based on the dynamics present in the vocal line? Menace Drive allows each gain stage to listen to the raw, unprocessed audio, preserving the dynamic range for each individual distortion. This means that you can set entrance points for different flavors of distortions based on the dynamic range. You want it to be sweet and tape or tube driven when you're quiet, and terrifying and full of turmoil when you start to scream and get loud? Getting this unique gain staging would be incredibly convoluted and require multiple routing weirdnesses in order to get even close, and you can do it with just one plugin, Menace Shape. A completely new way to approach vocal EQ that starts with a simple 3-knob system and allows you to dive deep using musical curves designed to bring out the best qualities in each voice. Using the smoothness, presence, and warmth of the original vocal menace, sheen, girth, and cup, we unlock all that's going on under the hood and give you the ultimate flexibility. Menace Heat. Menace Heat is a multi-stage limiter, compressor, limiter. It won't clip. It just keeps asking for more. You can adjust the secondary limiter's threshold relative to the compressor's threshold, allowing you to strike this wonderful balance between preserving the attack or onsets of your vocal performance while not fighting those attacks because they clip, or squashing them to the point where you really ruin the life of your vocal performance. And the output stage, though never clipping, heats up pretty good, offering you a fifth flavor of drive. And both menace wash, reverb, and call, hello, delay. Four beautiful reverb types that sound great right when you load the plugin. Room, hall, and my favorite on vocals, plate, and a really crazy spring reverb. I really wanted reverb and delay plugins for myself that were completely no fuss if I wanted them to be. Put them on, instantly get a great sound. But then, with stuff like auto tempo locking to your DAW, a bunch of delay modes and routing options, and distortions and modulations and other vintage effects built in, and don't forget Pain available on both call and wash that allows you to duck the reverb or delay signal behind the main line and then emerge, giving the listener a warm hug in the gaps without the need for complex automations. In addition to lifetime access keys for each plugin and free updates for life, I've bundled short tutorial videos on each plugin to help you get the most out of each plugin's feature set. And you'll get 4 multi-track packs: Lauren Babick, Andy Sizik, Will Ramos, and a session from me as well. These downloadable Keep for Life multi-track packs are straight from the artists, raw files. I show you how to use these plugins to get the studio quality results they got on their recordings, provide all the presets and the raw files so that you can learn by watching me dial in the sounds, and then with the same plugins and the same files, go to work yourself, learning all about vocal production, recording, and mixing by diving in to the diversity in these multi-track packs with these artists. And I cannot wait to hear what you do with them. Follow the links in either the pinned comment or the description below and open up a whole new world of sonic possibilities for your voice, learn vocal production and recording, and make some great music. The nerdy and practical mixed voice video. In our larynx, we've got the TA muscle. The TA muscle exists within and runs the entire length of the vocal cord. It's essentially the pitch changer for our lower or chest voice notes. We've also got the CT muscle. The CT muscle utilized when we are in our head voice or falsetto. The CT muscle, located on the exterior of the larynx, when engaged, causes a tilting or rocking of the thyroid cartilage, stretching the vocal cords, which is what represents that lighter, higher pitch. See the lengthening? When we train our TA muscles and our CT muscles to work together in different coordinations, specifically ones where TA dominance is used more in areas where typically CT dominance would be present in our voices, we are creating mixed voice postures. Mixed voice is literally a mix of different muscle coordinations that allow us to use different types of muscles in different ways. And I realize you could poke holes all over the analogy I'm about to share, but it's been really helpful for me as I've learned to embrace different types of sensations associated with mixed voice. If you've ever done any sort of lower body weightlifting, think about a squat versus a deadlift. Both movements are moving weight upwards. The squat, you're using your legs, your upper legs, but you're still using other support muscles. With a deadlift, you've got much more emphasis on your glutes and your lower back, but you're still using other support muscles. Now, with these big muscle groups in your legs and back, it's easy to visualize how you can put emphases on different muscle groups and blend the coordinations of a squat and a deadlift. And depending on what you're going for and what you'd like to emphasize, you will shift your focus to different parts of your body to direct that energy in a way that gets you a specific result. This takes practice, this takes mindfulness, and this takes coordination in order to do these exercises properly without injuring yourself and to get the most beneficial results. Very similar with our voice, and it's very similar when learning how to optimize your mixed voice. Now for the stupid noises that make all this talk relatable and practical. When you flip, you're embracing your vocal break. That's TA coordination and CT coordination with a hard line in between. The goal is to treat it less like two separate worlds, less like a switch, and more like a knob or a fader. In other words, a blend or mix. That's the first step. You mix the two coordinations together. Then you think about these two words, placement and pressure. These are the two words that lead to finding the balances and coordinations necessary to travel between different levels of dominance within these two primary coordinations that your voice box has. Placement. I can choose to direct the resonating sound coming out of my face in different ways. I can make it go straight out my mouth, which would be considered a very forward placement. That is a TA, chesty, reinforced, belted forward note. And I feel it on the back of my teeth. I could take that same range, that same TA chest voice muscular coordination, and I could direct it back so that I experience it further back. I'm directing that through my nasopharynx, through my nasal cavity. I can do the same thing in head voice or with a CT muscle coordination. Now, when you hear me bring that resonance back in CT, you hear a little bit of fry happening. Fry is loose vocal cord engagement. It's where they cease to purely phonate and they create a bit of a creaky sound. Let's talk a little bit about fry. Fry, with practice, can really be invoked anywhere in your range, but there are several areas where it can creep up on you unintentionally, which is actually very useful for developing your mixed voice, among other things like screaming, grit, other things like that. Fry can show up when you go as low as possible and your vocal cords kind of start doing this. Fry. It can also show up when you are approaching your vocal break from either up or down. And leaning into fry can be fun. All sorts of fun things. What experimenting with fry in these ways, going low, going head voice down until you find your break and you find the associated fry with it, and chest voice up. What this is allowing you to do, allowing you to interact with your placement and pressure together. As I feel out different parts of my range, different transitions between TA engagement and CT engagement, and fry comes into play, I can lean in with different amounts of pressure to expose different balances between the use of TA coordination and the use of CT coordination. This is where the dying cat or the creaky cat comes in so useful. It's a particular coordination and a particular kind of breath pressure experiment that allows you to feel out a balance that is conducive to using your TA muscles and your CT muscles together over very specific parts of your range. As I learn what it feels like to fry and create great closure over these particular coordinations, I start understanding these balances between TA and CT. In other words, I'm able to understand how support fits into the equation. Let's fry a little bit. Nasal it up. Ooh, cool. Now, what's super exciting about all this is you start to understand how interconnected all these different vocal techniques that I talk about all the time are when you start really experimenting with these sorts of things. Fry, breath pressure, support, placement, resonance. They all lead you to so many wonderful places. Now, it's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to talk about it. It's a whole other thing to practice it and to really introspect with all these balances and sensations. If you'd like help doing that, if you'd like specific exercises that will unlock all of these things in your voice and show you how to progress with them, start by clicking the link below in the pinned comment or video description and joining my free 3-video course called Free Your Voice. I will give you the foundation you need there. Then, eventually, you'll receive an invitation to my course, Discover Your Voice, where I give you an entire roadmap for exploring these sensations and balances and growing them in your own voice. If you're serious about developing your mixed voice, check out that free course. So I'm going to cycle through some different balances and coordinations and call things out as I do it. Please experiment along with me and ask questions in the comments as you see me doing certain things and you're comparing it to what you're doing. I'm forward and I'm chesty. T-A. I'm back. And CT. Head voice. Airy falsetto. Still back. Forward. I'm experiencing the placement. Forward. Back. Forward. Belty. Back. Forward. Back. Blending in TA. Blending my placements, adjusting it, raising and lowering the height of my larynx to help me place the sound differently. Experiencing a different amount of nasality dynamically. Do the same thing in head voice. Varying my placement in chest voice and head voice. Varying my placement with TA muscle coordinations and CT muscle coordinations. Now I'm going to experiment with pressure, breath pressure in various parts as I'm moving my resonances around. And if I get fry, I'm going to allow my voice to lean into it so that I can experience the breath pressure and balances that may occur. In other words, I'm going to feel out using placement, pressure, and the resulting weirdnesses, fry, vocal break, sorts of things that happen. I'm going to embrace all these things. That's a very back fry, tortured, dying cat sound. I'm going to add a little bit more pressure, see if I can get better closure. And I'm going to bring my resonance a little bit forward. It's opening things up a little bit. Ooh, that's feeling chestier. Ooh, that actually means what's happening is that there's a greater TA dominance in an area that would normally be considered CT dominance in my range. Yeah. The fullness of that is being provided by experimenting with my pressure and my placement and using fry as sort of a gauge to, well, how much more pressure? How can I adjust my placement? And adjusting these things, just like when you're lifting weights, you adjust, forward, back. Am I using my legs? Am I using my back? Am I using, whatever. It's the same kind of thing. Ooh, now, as I went down to that note, it fried a little bit. I approached a place where my body couldn't decide which set of muscles it wanted to use, the TA or the CT. Which ones are going to be dominant? I've got to train myself to choose dynamically. Yeah! There. Yeah! No break. And they're both very TA or chesty supported. That's not a pulled chest sound. That's just a very supported mix. Whoa! Yeah! Now, where does compression come into this? Compression is a form of pressure. When I learn how to increase the pressure by adding more support and holding back air with the structures above my larynx, cartilage, false chords, I'm literally creating more pressure above where those muscle coordinations are happening. It's generally much easier to add compression when you've got the reinforcement of the TA muscles. Which is why when you add compression in a CT coordination, typically what you're doing, I'm constricting to add that pressure. Typically what you're doing is adding more TA reinforcement in concert with the compression happening. That compression is often heard as a nice, juicy distortion. Not to be confused with fry. You can use those together as well. Well supported and placed mixed voice note. Add a little compression. Place it differently to get different tones. Add fry. I'm chesty with some fry. I'm heady with some fry. I'm blendy with some compression and fry. I'm blendy. I'm mixing, so I'm compressing, and I'm adding fry and compression over different parts of my range. CT, full CT, pull chest, too much TA. Oh! Blend with compression and a little bit of fry. Yeah! Mostly compression there. Let's put a little more fry in there. Yeah! Compressed fry mix. Yeah! Brought on by, if you've seen my other vocal videos, you know, leaning into your vocal break. This is where it all comes together. And as we experiment with placement, we can get some wonderfully diverse sounds. This is a well-supported mixed voice down to chest. Notice there was no grit there at all. Whoa! Yeah! And I can go experimenting with pressure and placement at the same time to go in and out of different levels of intensity. This is what you hear Jeff Buckley do so well. La la la. La, la, la,
CT, CT, CT,
Just mix ahead. Now, I'm purposely leaving in all the warts so you can hear some of the different transitions that are happening. Now it's your turn. Throw some artists in the comments and let's discuss their mixed voice qualities, further the learning and exploration process for all. Again, if you would like help fully exploring and unlocking the possibilities with your own voice when it comes to placement, pressure, and the use of support in the development of your mixed voice, start by clicking the link below in the pinned comment or video description and completing my free course. Once you're done with that, eventually you'll receive an invitation to my course, Discover Your Voice, where I give you an entire roadmap of exercises and mindsets to fully develop your mixed voice among many other things. See, for more. I was doing a lot of things wrong, and it was causing me to burn out and lose my voice. And I shared a lot of misconceptions with a lot of other vocalists that I happened to be around, that belting was this all-in sort of thing. It's not. And part of the problem was the vocalists I was incorrectly drawing inspiration from. Not that they were necessarily doing anything wrong, but the way I was interpreting what they were doing and then trying to make those sorts of things come out in my own voice was really screwing me up. Nirvana, Lithium, Live and Loud, Seattle, 1993. I mean, he's just all in, and it's gritty, and it sounds amazing. Now that, and performances like it, were what I was trying to build my belt on. That's not really even belting. Belting is a powerful upper chest, generally forward or thrown as a call out into your audience. No. Yes, but I would belt even more effectively if I was up higher in my chest voice. No. Let's throw the resonance a little forward. Let's feel it in the front of my face and behind the front of my teeth. Let's open up. Let's give it more support. Versus Hear how I grew that belt? I can do it now, and I can maintain it, but I learned how to build it differently. I learned how to feel out the sensations, but belting didn't really make sense to me until I heard Maynard do something really interesting on Judith live performance. When he's going up there and getting that grit, that's not necessarily belting. You can be powerful and loud and even gritty and high and without actually belting. Belting is more of a placement and a posture. It has nothing to do with loudness necessarily. Listen what he does with He Did It All For You. Okay, listen again. He did it all for you. Notice the dynamics. Some of it is out there and forward and thrown and belted. Some of it is not. You see, I began to learn that proper belting technique involves transition and traveling through lines, finessing lines with elements of belt, but not locking myself into it. Which, whether Kurt was locking himself into anything, I'm not really judging that. I'm just saying that that's what I initially pulled from it. If I were to sing it like I was interpreting Kurt singing it and putting it in my own voice, it would be like this. He did it all for you! I'm not taking into consideration where my voice performs best in a belt, which is in that upper chest, which is a normal thing, and I'm not letting myself arc any sort of dynamics or change around my placement at all. And so the belting that I'm doing, while maybe right part of the time, just gets messed up because I plow into this. Oh, I'm working on my belt. I got to be powerful. I got to be loud. I got to be that all the time. It's this sneaky thing that happens to us singers. When we try to do something, we try to go all in all the time, and that usually ends up tripping us up. So let's go back to this line again. Let's practice that. Let's place it back a little bit. Oh, I'm going to mildly swallow it, and it's not going to be, oh, I'm going to feel it through my nose a little bit, feel it in my ears and sort of the back of my head. Oh, and then I'm going to take that to the beginning of the line. He did. And then I'm going to, on all, I'm going to throw the resonance forward. I'm going to belt it. I'm going to throw it. He did it all for you. He did it all for you. There's a dynamic. There's a connectedness. There's a tangibleness to that just feels good in my voice and sounds good. And overall, it sounds belted. If you would like help building the right foundation of support and resonance and placement so that you can begin to build a healthy, powerful, and well-supported belt voice, click the link below in the pinned comment or video description, and I'll help you build that foundation and pull way more things out of your voice you never knew were there. And another great piece of advice I got along the way when it came to belting was, we're not in a theater with no mics using our room acoustics to amplify the sound of our voice or trying to sing over something unmiked. Modern vocalists, whether they're in the studio or they're doing something live, they're singing through a mic. So let the mic do the work. And when it comes to projecting your voice, your job, especially when you're belting, is to play with the resonance and placement in your own voice and interact with the way the mic picks up your voice. And it doesn't need to be loud to do that. Your sound engineer or you can move your fingers and tweak a knob to get the volume right. You want to focus on tone, placement, and intensity, but you don't have to be loud. So when I go, he did it all for you, I'm not pushing to get my tone. I mean, I'm supporting and I'm being engaged with my support, but I'm not pushing to be loud. I'm not belting so I can be loud. I'm belting to get a certain sort of belted or calling out sort of tone. He did it all for you. When I think about my belt voice as interacting with the mic and interacting with my placement and the dynamic ways I let my voice resonate, it becomes so much more full than if I'm just trying to be loud or turn up the power. So when belting is a function of placement, when I'm thinking about it and experiencing it that way, rather than just adding more. And that's really what I learned from this Maynard James Keenan performance, as well as that wonderful advice to let the mic do the work and the interaction that you have with your placement and the mic. So let yourself experience dynamics and variety in context and learn to play with your voice in various transitions as you work on developing your belt voice. And you're going to go way further, way more quickly, with much more freedom than I initially did. Again, if you would like help developing the tools necessary and getting the right foundation to work on your belt voice and much more, click that link below and join my free course, linked in the video description or pinned comment. And for more advice on how to belt, try this video.
is wasted, so some say. Young souls racing through their days. So many words get tucked away in our haste to find a way to reinvent every wheel. Sometimes we do, and sometimes we fail. As we grow old, we pack it tight. Love and joy, pangs of regret. Our mind is full of all these things, of who we are and where we've been. Things that we've heard and things that we've seen, written in our memory. Oh, let me be, let me be the one who holds the memory and guards the treasures of the mind. All that took so long to find, once again let them return. Lessons learned from bridges burned. As I watch you slip away, a lady loved and full of grace. You made memories day by day of precious souls along the way. You taught us our faith, you taught us to love, you taught us hope comes from above, from above. Oh, let me be, let me be the one who holds the memory and guards the treasures of the mind. All that took so long to find, once again let them return. Lessons learned from bridges burned. Oh, so many years and life gone by, precious memories laid away. Oh, so deep in your mind, waiting there again to find. But now they seem to fade away a little more every day. Oh, let me be, let me be the one who holds the memory and guards the treasures of the mind. All that took so long to find, once again let them return. Lessons learned from bridges burned. Oh, let me keep your memories, precious and sweet in my mind. All you've passed along to me. As time goes by, may I still find. Let me be. Oh, let me be the one who holds the memory. Oh, let me be the one who holds the memory.
spread love or hate? Are you gonna spread love or hate? Are you gonna spread love?